It's muffin time, everybody. Yes, today we are finally doing some sweet treats. We are making Waka Flocka Flame and Raury inspired cupcakes with an extra little twist in the form of a doughy crumb on top of it. Waka Flocka Flame and Raury actually made this dish on Vice. Watching over it, I'm pretty sure that it didn't actually come up with the recipe themselves, because I think it was a Vice thing, especially as they were asking questions on what the actual ingredients were. But nonetheless, it's great to see, you don't often see rappers and stuff coming out as being vegan, so it's great to have some inspiration from that community. And here we're actually making the crumb, gradually adding in the butter to the recipe, and it looked a bit wet when you put it together, so I just chucked in a bit of extra flour at the end. I wanted to experiment with putting something like this on top, just because I think it adds a nice crunch to the recipe. What I'm doing here is using my fingers just to kind of turn it into little balls. I found that the more flour you add, you don't want to go overboard with the flour, just add a tiny little extra bit on. But we're going to put this to the side for 20 minutes or however long it takes you to bake the muffins. And in this time, it will harden up a bit and it will look great when you actually come to putting the cupcakes together. As you can see, just at the end, did a little bit more of a stir before finishing it off. That's what the texture should look like. Okay, so here we are putting the soy milk in with a bit of lemon juice because we want it to curdle. So we do this first, and in about 5 minutes you'll end up doing the rest of the recipe, and by then nothing really changes, it just becomes a bit more bubblier. The actual Vice recipe says you could also use coconut milk. That's fine. I'd suggest that you can use pretty much any milk, but I always opt for soy because I think soy works great in baking products. And here I'm just putting it back into the jug so I can use the bowl again for a bit of mixing. So yeah, these muffins in the actual video, because it's based on a video which I will link below, they don't actually come out that muffiny. They're more like cupcake-sized muffins, really. I used a muffin tin, I did everything. They didn't really rise that much, they weren't massive. But it's filthy clean vegan. These don't have to look perfect, so that's the whole point. Here we're just mixing together the flours and the powders and stuff like that. And then in another bowl, we're going to do the wet ingredients before combining them together. One thing I like about this recipe is the inclusion of a lot of lemon, because I think it adds a nice twist to the blueberry. You have lemon zest and lemon juice, which obviously you've just added to the soy milk. You could experiment with this bit. You could put granulated sugar in, and what I tend to opt for usually is agave nectar. I just didn't have enough agave nectar to equal the amount of sugar that we had to add in. And here we're adding vanilla bean paste, but of course you could add vanilla extract if that's what you have. I just had vanilla bean paste in my cupboard. And there's also been coconut oil added in here. Coconut oil just works really well to bind everything together, especially as an egg substitute. So make sure you get that in. So yeah, so this next bit happens really quick. We've just added in the milk and the lemon to the sugars, and we're combining all the flour in. As you can see, it looks a bit disgusting at the moment, but the more you mix, the more it will come together and the better it will look. Don't add all the flour in at once. It's always nice to incorporate it and gradually see how things go. It's a mess when you add it all in at once. It's reversible, you can sort it out, but it's just always better to do it gradually, a bit at a time, until it all comes together and it looks lovely like this. I have to say, the actual mixture as well, because it doesn't have any egg in, it is safe to eat and it is incredible. So here we're just going to fold in some blueberries. Be careful to fold, as you can see me doing here, because if you start stirring it really ham-fistedly, the blueberries are all going to break up, and you don't want that to happen, because then you'll probably have blue muffins and no juicy blueberry bits in there. And You know, one of my favourite things about blueberry muffins is where the blueberry explodes and you've got this crater of blueberry lovely goodness. So just gently fold it all in and get it all mixed nicely together before we then go and put it all into the muffin tins. Now, I would suggest you use muffin tins, not cupcake tins. However, like I said, they don't rise that much, so it's not too big of a deal. I suggest what I did here was a spoonful in each and then topped them all up to try and make sure they're equal. But if you want to go in and do one at a time, just try to make sure they're about halfway full. And as you can see, here it is, we kind of skipped a bit. By this point, the crust had hardened a lot more. What you want to do is just grab the little crust bits by your hand, crumble them up on top of the cupcakes. If you'd like a more doughier crumb at the top, what I'd do is I'd put the cupcakes in for about 10 minutes, then leave them, take them out, and put the crumb in after that, and then put them back in for the remaining of the time. Because although I like the crumb on this recipe, it did turn out just a little bit darker than I would have hoped for. So it's completely up to you. If you like things a bit crispier, do what I've done here. If you like things a bit doughier, add the crumb in halfway. And here it is, I just stuck a cocktail stick in there to make sure the cocktail stick came out clean. Here are your gorgeous Waka Flocka Flame muffins. Hopefully they have all the spice of Waka Flocka Flame too. Enjoy.